Joe, we just saw a bunch of images of Mariano Rivera, and what a special day Sunday really is for the team, the organization, and Mo himself. What type of emotions do you think are going through his mind during that?
You know, I think he'll get real emotional because he loves to play this game so much, and knowing that it could possibly be coming down to the last week, you know, the last Sunday he could possibly spend at Yankee Stadium as a player, it's probably going to be pretty hard.
For fans that are out there, that are watching, that have watched him throughout his entire career, how sad a day do you think that is for them? Kind of, do you think it's starting to sink in a little bit?
Yeah, I think it is. And I think that, you know, I think people need to rejoice in what this guy has meant to this organization and what we've had a chance to witness over the, you know, really since 1996. And, you know, enjoy the day because it is a special day. And you think about, you know, some of the days that we've had here, you know, that I've been a part of. You know, the Yogi Berra Day was extremely special. And this is very similar. What's
it like as a player playing with Mariano Rivera, as a manager, knowing that most times you're really sitting with an 8-inning game, not a 9-inning game?
Yeah, it's comforting is what it is. And, you know, at times, you know, we'd ask him to give us more than one inning, too. So, I mean, as a player, I used to manage the game backwards in my head, knowing that I had Mo down in the bullpen and what you needed from the start and what the other relievers. And you do the same thing as a manager. And it's just comforting because you know that Mo's never going to be intimidated by a situation, that if he has a bad day, you know he knows how to turn the page. And his greatness is usually going to shine. How different is Mariano Rivera now as opposed to Mariano Rivera that you caught? Well, he is different. When I caught him, he didn't have a sinker. It was basically the hard fastball, but he also threw 96, 97 miles an hour. And I will say Mo was the easiest guy I ever caught, and maybe the greatest guy I ever caught. And sometimes that doesn't go hand in hand because you think of a guy that's dominating, he has great stuff. He never had to block a ball. He very seldom missed his spot. He didn't give up many hits, so there weren't a lot of runners on. I mean, it was easy. Michael Kay was telling a story on the air the other day. He said Mariano Rivera has never even bounced a ball in the bullpen warming up. Is that your experience as well? Yeah, I mean, I can't remember having, in 4 years, ever having to block a ball. I mean, you always got to be on your toes with a lot of these other guys, sure. But with Mo, you just put your glove there and knew he was going to be close. It's pretty amazing when you think about it, but he's had that uncanny ability, even if he doesn't succeed one day, to come back the next day, forget about it, put it in the past, and focus on the present. How do you think he's been able to do that for so many years in this market? You know, I think it's his makeup, his personality, how he's able to just turn the page. He never gets too high or too low. Whether he saves, you know, 22 games in a row or he blows one, his expression is the same. His personality is the same. It's the same after the game. It's the same the next day. It might eat him in a little bit inside, but he never shows that, and I think it's helped him. How much better do you think your bullpen is because Mariano Rivera is, not from his production perspective, but for him kind of teaching some of the other guys in the bullpen how he goes about his business? Well, not only as a manager do you have a safety net, you know as another reliever you have a safety net, and that makes all of them better. And just watching about him go about his work, watching his personality where there's never any panic, I think helps everyone involved. Now, you look at his career, obviously the greatest closer of all time. Do you ever think there'll be a guy that can compare to Mariano Rivera? Will these numbers kind of stick for a very long time? I don't ever see anyone breaking his save record. I don't, because you think about how successful that team has to be for such a long period of time, and I'm not so sure that can happen in baseball. I know teams can have a lot of success, but when you think about all the postseason saves that he's had, it's going to be pretty difficult. And, you know, how many closers are going to be 43? I mean, that just doesn't happen, so it'll be really difficult. Not just 43, 44, but coming off a major knee surgery, to have that in the back of your mind as well. It's almost like that never happened. Yeah, for him, yeah, I mean, we forgot about it. I mean, once he went out and closed some games, we forgot about it, and we saw him move around, and you know, the good thing is he never hurt his arm. He hurt his arm early in his career where he had Tommy John, but he never hurt his arm really during the course of a season, and he was able to get through the knee problem. Now, 2013 has been an interesting year for so many different reasons, but it was also part of the Mo farewell tour where he received some interesting gifts. So was there one gift that stood out to you? The rocking chair, the chair of broken dreams, and I also love the gold record from Metallica, you know, Enter Sandman. I thought that was really neat, too. And I know the team had a little bit of a party for him in Toronto, so what did you guys give him there? They gave him a trip and to Europe, and for him and his family, and there were some guys who were volunteering to go with him. Were you one of those guys? No, I wasn't, but you know, he he was shocked, and he gave a great speech and talked about playing the game the right way. And when I think about Mo, that's what I'll always remember. He was humble, and he played the game the right way. And he was not only prepared every day, every week, every month, every year, but I felt like he gave you everything he had, and that's a special person.
Best Mo story, either on or off the field?
God, there's so many. I just remember being a catcher and how dominant he was. You know, I saw, you know, guys break 2 and 3 bats per at bat, and how dominant he was in the '96 postseason, and it just continued. But 2009 is really special to me too, because if we would have had to play another day, I don't know if we would have had him, because he hurt his rib cage, and there was many times at his age, I think he was 40 at the time, 39, that he went multiple innings in that postseason, and that was remarkable.
Joe, you talk about the broken bats, and especially early in his career, how dominant he was. How is that as an offensive player, stepping into that batter's box, knowing exactly what he's going to throw you and still not being able to hit it?
Well, fortunately, I never had to face him. I only got to catch him, which
yes,
was the good.
But I'm sure
it had
you can
been
imagine.
frustrating for hitters, because you would think that you were on it, and all of a sudden it was breaking your bat in half. And I heard Rafael Palmeiro say, you know, the only place I can hit it hard is over my own dugout. I mean, you just can't keep it fair and hit it hard. And it had to be psychologically hard on the other team, knowing that, you know, if the Yankees got a lead, it's probably over.
Now, you've talked a lot about it over this past week. You don't think it's really going to sink in for you until you show up for spring training and you don't see Mariano Rivera in uniform. You don't see an Andy Pettitte in uniform. But if you look at the 2014 team, based on the guys you have now, is it going to be a David Robertson? Is it going to be a Sean Kelly? Who do you see stepping into that role?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have candidates. I think that's a bridge that you cross when you have to. You know, I think that, you know, for whoever it is, I think, you know, people have to be patient and understand there's only one Mariano Rivera, and Mo did blow a save from time to time, and if that person blows a save, it happens in the game. But it's a bridge that we're going to have to cross next year.